When my daughter told me she was taking my home, I laughed it off as a terrible joke. 3 days later, I was standing on the sidewalk with 2 suitcases while she changed the locks. That's when I realized family ties can become nooses when you're not looking. If you're watching this right now, hit that subscribe button and tell me what state you're from in the comments. Because this story is about to twist harder than a tornado in a trailer park, and you'll want to be here for every shocking revelation. I never thought I'd be telling a story like this. The day my life fell apart started so ordinary, sunlight filtering through my kitchen window as I sipped my morning coffee. I was planting my garden for spring when the doorbell rang. There stood Lauren, my only child, clutching a folder of papers, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. "Morning, Mom," she said, brushing past me into the house I'd owned for 30 years. The house where I'd raised her after her father left us. The house I'd paid off with overtime shifts and careful budgeting. "I need you to look at something," she said, spreading documents across my kitchen table. I put on my reading glasses, trusting as always. That was my first mistake. "This is just some legal paperwork about the house," I said, scanning the dense text. "Yes," Lauren replied, her voice suddenly businesslike. "I've had the deed transferred to my name." I laughed. Actually laughed. "Very funny, honey." But Lauren didn't crack a smile. "It's not a joke, Mom. You signed power of attorney to me last year when you had that health scare, remember?" The memory hit me, signing papers from my hospital bed after my minor stroke, Lauren assuring me it was just in case decisions needed to be made while I recovered. "But I'm fine now," I said, my voice rising. "And this is my house." "Was your house," Lauren corrected. "I'm selling it. Daniel and I need the money for our wedding and to buy something in the city." Daniel, her fiancé of 6 months. A man who drove a car worth more than my annual income, but somehow never had enough money. "You can't do this," I whispered, my hands shaking. "This is illegal." Lauren's laugh cut through me like ice. "Check the paperwork, Mom. It's all perfectly legal. You have 3 days to move out. Script part separator ===. When she left that afternoon, I called my neighbor Gladys, who'd been a paralegal for 40 years before retiring. "Marie, this sounds fishy," she said after I explained everything. "Meet me at Joe's Diner in an hour. I'm calling my old boss." Within 90 minutes, I was sitting across from Gladys and Tom Anderson, a silver-haired attorney with kind eyes and a determined expression. "What Lauren did may technically be legal, but it's ethically reprehensible," he said, reviewing the documents. "She exploited your trust during a health crisis. We can fight this." Hope flickered, but died quickly when Tom continued. "But I need to be honest, these cases take time. You still need somewhere to go while we fight." "You can stay with me," Gladys offered immediately. I shook my head. "I can't impose. I have a cousin in Springfield who's been asking me to visit." That night, I called Diane, my cousin who'd always been more like a sister. When I told her what happened, she gasped. "Lauren did what?" "That little," she cut herself off. "Your room is ready. Come tomorrow." True to her word, Lauren returned with 2 burly men 3 days later. I stood on the porch, 2 suitcases at my feet, watching them change my locks. "Mom, don't make this dramatic," Lauren sighed, checking her watch. "You'll be fine. Maybe this will force you to actually live a little instead of hiding in this old house." As they worked, she took photos of the front yard. "The realtor says with some landscaping, we can ask 30,000 more. Something inside me snapped. "You won't get away with this." Lauren's smile turned cold. "I already have." She paused, then added the final dagger. "By the way, don't mention this to anyone at the wedding. I don't want to explain why my mother is suddenly homeless." She drove away in her shiny BMW, leaving me standing on the sidewalk where I'd taught her to ride a bike 25 years ago. As I got into Gladys's car, my phone rang. It was Tom. "Marie, I've been digging. There's something strange about this whole situation. Can you meet tomorrow? I found something about Daniel you need to see. Script part separator ===. The next morning, I met Tom at his office downtown. The building was imposing. All glass and steel, nothing like the cozy home I'd just lost. His receptionist led me to a conference room where he was already waiting, surrounded by papers. "Marie, thank you for coming." He motioned to the chair across from him. "What I'm about to show you might be upsetting." My heart pounded as he slid a folder across the table. Inside were bank statements, property records, and newspaper clippings. "Your future son-in-law isn't who he claims to be," Tom said gravely. "Daniel Matthews has declared bankruptcy twice in the past 5 years. He's got creditors hunting him across 3 states. I stared at the documents, my hands trembling. But he drives that expensive car, takes Lauren to fancy restaurants. All smoke and mirrors, Tom explained. The car's leased under a business that's about to fold. His credit cards are maxed out. A terrible realization washed over me. He's after my house. He put Lauren up to this. Tom shook his head. "I think it's worse. Look at this." He showed me a document with both their signatures, a loan application using my house as collateral, dated 2 months before Lauren took the deed. "They've already borrowed against your property," Tom said quietly. $300,000. The room spun around me. But the house isn't even worth. They inflated the value. Classic fraud. And there's more. Tom pointed to another page. Daniel's previous fiancée had a similar experience. Her grandmother's beach house mysteriously changed ownership before their wedding. The case was settled out of court with a non-disclosure agreement. "He's done this before," I whispered, bile rising in my throat. "And Lauren is helping him."
"We need to move quickly," Tom said.
"They've scheduled a showing of your house tomorrow. And according to this wedding invitation your neighbor gave me, they're getting married in 3 weeks. At my house," I added bitterly. "In my garden." Tom's eyes narrowed.
"That gives us a deadline."
"I'm filing emergency motions today, but we need more evidence." As I left Tom's office, my phone pinged with a text from Lauren. "Don't forget to RSVP for the wedding. Wearing black would be inappropriate, Mom." I stared at the message, a cold determination replacing my heartbreak. This wasn't just about a house anymore. Script part separator . With newfound purpose, I drove with Gladys to my cousin Diane's home. Her husband Bob greeted us warmly, carrying my suitcases to their spare bedroom. "Your family, Marie. Stay as long as you need," Bob assured me. That night, I couldn't sleep. Around 2 a.m., I found Diane in the kitchen making tea. "I've been thinking," she said, sliding a mug toward me. "Remember when Lauren was 16 and borrowed my diamond earrings for prom? And blamed the cleaning lady when they disappeared?" I nodded. "This isn't new behavior. She's always taken what she wanted." Diane's eyes narrowed. "But we never expected her to take your home." My phone buzzed, an email from Tom with 3 attachments. The first was a photo of my house listed online, asking price $150,000 above market value. The second showed Lauren and Daniel at a luxury car dealership 2 days ago. The third made my blood run cold, a lease agreement for a beach house in Malibu, starting the day after their wedding, with a monthly rent that could feed a family of 4 for a year. They were already spending my money. The next morning, I drove past my house to find a coming soon sign on the lawn and strangers measuring my garden, probably for the wedding. I pulled over, trembling with anger. "Excuse me," a young woman approached my car. "Are you here for the preview showing?" I almost said no, but something stopped me. "Yes," I replied instead. "I'm very interested in this property." She beamed. "I'm Jessica, the listing agent. The owners are renovating before the official listing, but I can show you around." Owners. Plural. As if Lauren and Daniel had built this home with their own hands. "That would be wonderful," I said, forcing a smile. Inside my own house, everything looked different. My furniture was pushed to the walls, paint swatches dotted the living room, and strangers' shoes tracked dirt across my polished floors. Script part separator . As Jessica guided me through my own home, each room felt like a fresh betrayal. My family photos were gone, replaced by generic artwork. The kitchen where I'd taught Lauren to bake cookies had been staged with expensive appliances I'd never seen before. "The current owners are throwing a wedding here next weekend," Jessica chatted happily. "Then we'll complete the renovations and list it officially. We already have several interested parties. How lovely, I managed, my voice tight. May I see the master bedroom? Upstairs, I gasped involuntarily. My bedroom had been completely transformed, new bedding, new curtains. But it was the open closet that caught my eye. There, hanging prominently, was a wedding dress. Lauren's wedding dress. Oh, that shouldn't be here, Jessica said, quickly closing the closet door. The owner must have dropped it off for the ceremony. I nodded, speechless, as she continued the tour. When we reached my home office, Jessica stepped out to take a call. With trembling hands, I quickly scanned the desk. There, a folder labeled wedding. Heart-pounding, I flipped it open. Inside were contracts, receipts, and a timeline. The wedding budget alone was over $50,000. Then I saw it, a bank statement showing a deposit of $300,000 from Matthews Property Holdings. I snapped photos with my phone just as Jessica returned. After thanking her, I rushed back to Diane's house and called Tom immediately. This is exactly what we needed, he said after I forwarded the photos. They're clearly spending the fraudulent loan money. I'm requesting an emergency hearing tomorrow morning. Can you be there at 9 a.m.? That night, my phone rang. Lauren's name flashed on the screen. Mom, she said, her voice sugary sweet. I need you to sign some papers for the wedding. Just formalities. I'll stop by Aunt Diane's tomorrow. I'm busy tomorrow, I replied coldly. Busy? What could possibly be more important than your only daughter's wedding? She demanded, her tone shifting instantly. Fighting for my house in court, I answered, and hung up. Script part separator equals. The courthouse loomed before me the next morning, imposing and cold. I wore my best dress, navy blue with white trim, the one I'd worn to Lauren's college graduation. Tom met me at the entrance, briefcase in hand. Ready? He asked. I nodded, though my legs felt like jelly. Inside, the courtroom was smaller than I expected. Judge Harriet Mills, a stern-faced woman with silver-rimmed glasses, listened intently as Tom presented our emergency petition. Your Honor, this is a clear case of elder exploitation and fraud, Tom argued, displaying the documents we'd gathered. Ms. Williams was manipulated during a health crisis, and now her daughter and future son-in-law are attempting to sell her home out from under her. I felt a chill run through me before I even heard the voice. That's absolutely ridiculous. Lauren stood in the doorway, Daniel beside her. Behind them was a slick-looking attorney in an expensive suit. Your Honor, I'm Richard Donovan representing Lauren Matthews and Daniel Matthews, the man said, striding forward. This petition is nothing but a desperate attempt by Ms. Williams to control her adult daughter's life. Judge Mills frowned. This is an emergency hearing, Mr. Donovan. Your clients weren't summoned. We received a tip, Lauren snapped, glaring at me. My mother is trying to ruin my wedding out of spite. The judge banged her gavel. Enough. Everyone sit down. This is my courtroom, not a family therapy session. For the next hour, both attorneys presented arguments. Donovan claimed I'd willingly transferred the house as a wedding gift, producing a letter with my signature, a signature I'd never written. That's a forgery, I blurted out, unable to contain myself. Ms. Williams, Judge Mills warned, speak only when addressed. Script part separator equals. Tom quickly intervened. Your Honor, we have a handwriting expert on standby who can verify this is not Ms. Williams' signature. Judge Mills studied both sides carefully. I'm issuing a temporary restraining order. No sale of the property can proceed until we have a full hearing. And, she added, looking directly at Lauren and Daniel, no modifications to the property either. That includes wedding preparations. You can't do this. Lauren shouted, her face flushing with anger. The wedding is in 10 days. Lower your voice in my courtroom, Judge Mills warned. Full hearing is scheduled for next Thursday, 2 days before your wedding. Until then, the house remains as is. Outside the courthouse, Lauren cornered me, her eyes flashing with rage. Daniel and the attorney stood a few feet away.
How could you do this to me? She hissed.
This is supposed to be the happiest time of my life.
How could I?
I repeated incredulously. You stole my home, Lauren. It was never about the house, she snapped. You've always been jealous of my happiness. You've been bitter since Dad left. The mention of her father, my ex-husband who'd abandoned us for his secretary 20 years ago, felt like a slap. Your father has nothing to do with this, I said firmly. Oh, doesn't he? Lauren's smile turned cruel. Where do you think Daniel and I got the idea? Before I could process her words, she stormed off, leaving me frozen on the courthouse steps.
Marie?
Tom touched my shoulder gently.
What did she mean by that?
I don't know, I whispered. But I'm going to find out. When I returned to Diane's house, I called the one person I hadn't spoken to in years, my ex-husband, Robert Williams. Script part separator . The phone rang 5 times before he answered.
Marie?
Robert's voice sounded older, raspier than I remembered. It's been what, 10 years? 15, I corrected.
I need to talk to you about Lauren.
A long pause followed. Then, I wondered when this call would come. What does that mean? I demanded, my heart pounding. I'm guessing she finally did it, he sighed.
Took the house.
My blood turned to ice. You knew about this? Lauren called me about a year ago, Robert explained. Said she met this impressive guy named Daniel, who had all these investment ideas. They needed startup capital. She mentioned your power of attorney. And you didn't warn me? I was practically shouting. I told her not to do it, Marie. Said it would destroy your relationship. But you didn't tell me. Robert's voice hardened. We haven't spoken in 15 years. Was I supposed to call out of the blue because our adult daughter might be making a bad decision? I hung up, hands shaking with fury. 5 minutes later, my phone rang again. Don't hang up, Robert said quickly. There's something else you should know. I looked into this Daniel character after Lauren called. He's bad news, Marie. Really bad news. I already know about the bankruptcies, I said. It's worse than that. Robert's voice dropped. He was investigated for fraud in Arizona. Charges were dropped, but only because witnesses suddenly wouldn't testify. And there's a connection to some dangerous people in Vegas. What kind of connection? Gambling debts. Big ones. The kind of debts where people don't just send collection notices. Fear gripped my chest. Lauren doesn't know? I tried telling her. She accused me of trying to sabotage her happiness, just like you supposedly did. I need whatever information you have on Daniel, I said, my maternal instinct overwhelming my anger at Robert. Check your email in an hour, he promised. True to his word, Robert's email arrived with attachments, newspaper clippings, court documents, and a private investigator's report he'd commissioned. The final document was a photo of Daniel shaking hands with a man identified as Vincent Caruso, a known loan shark with ties to organized crime. I forwarded everything to Tom, then called him. This changes everything, Tom said grimly. We're not just fighting for your house anymore, Marie. We might be saving your daughter's life. Script part separator . I barely slept that night, images of my daughter in danger playing through my mind like a horror movie. By morning, I had a plan forming, one that made my stomach churn but felt necessary. Tom called as I was having coffee. I've just received a call from Judge Mill's clerk. Our hearing has been moved up to Monday.
3 days from now.
Why the rush?
I asked.
Anonymous tip to the court about potential flight risk, Tom explained. Someone suggested Daniel and Lauren might try to sell the house and leave the country before the wedding. Could Robert have? Doesn't matter who, Tom cut in. This works in our favor. But there's something else. Daniel's attorney filed a harassment claim against you. You're ordered to stay away from the house and from Lauren until the hearing. They're trying to isolate her, I realized aloud. Exactly, Tom agreed. But we have a secret weapon now. My ex-husband? I asked skeptically.
No, Tom replied.
Vincent Caruso.
What?
I nearly dropped my mug. The loan shark?
What are you talking about?
We're not approaching him directly, Tom clarified quickly. But my investigator found something interesting. Caruso's niece works at the country club where Daniel and Lauren have been planning their reception. I still don't understand. We need someone who can get close to Lauren without violating the court order. Someone who might overhear crucial conversations. You want to spy on my daughter? I asked, appalled. I want to protect her, Tom corrected. And get your house back. The country club manager owes me a favor. If we can get you hired temporarily.
As what?
A server? I'm 61 years old. Event coordinator assistant, Tom suggested. Just for the weekend. The real coordinator called in sick yesterday. Very convenient timing. Script part separator equals. I sat in my car outside the country club, staring at my reflection in the rearview mirror. I dyed my hair darker and was wearing glasses I didn't need, along with a name tag that read Patricia. My hands trembled as I applied lipstick. This is insane, I muttered to myself. But desperate times call for desperate measures. Inside, the club manager, Tom's connection, gave me a clipboard and a brief orientation. Just follow Veronica's lead, he said, nodding toward a harried woman directing staff. The Matthews-Williams wedding is our priority this weekend. My heart clenched hearing our family names linked together, as if this unholy union was something to celebrate. I needn't have worried about being recognized. Lauren barely glanced at me during the planning meeting, too absorbed in her demands for the perfect wedding. The flower arch needs to be higher, she insisted, while Daniel checked his phone constantly. And we need more champagne for the toast. Of course, Ms. Williams, I murmured, scribbling notes. Daniel stepped away to take a call, his voice low but angry. I edged closer, pretending to adjust table settings. I told you it's handled, he hissed into his phone. The house sells right after the honeymoon. Yes, all of it. Every penny. My blood ran cold. This confirmed our suspicions, but I needed more. I followed him at a discreet distance as he moved to a quieter area. Caruso will get his money, Daniel continued, unaware of my presence. Plus interest. The old lady won't know what hit her. The old lady.
Me.
My own daughter's fiancé was talking about me like I was nothing. I was so focused on eavesdropping that I didn't notice Lauren approaching until she was right behind me.
Excuse me, she said sharply.
What are you doing? Script part separator equals. I nearly jumped out of my skin, clutching the clipboard to my chest. Just double-checking the layout, I stammered, keeping my head down. Lauren's eyes narrowed suspiciously. You look familiar. My heart pounded so loudly, I was sure she could hear it. I've worked several events here, I lied. Perhaps you've seen me around. She studied me a moment longer before Daniel rejoined her, slipping his phone into his pocket. Everything okay? He asked, his charm firmly back in place. Fine, Lauren replied, still watching me. This woman was just leaving. I nodded and hurried away, my legs shaking. That had been too close. In the staff break room, I texted Tom. Daniel confirmed plan to sell house after honeymoon. Mentioned Caruso by name. His response was immediate. Perfect. Get back here now. Don't risk being recognized. I was gathering my things when I overheard two servers talking. Did you see that guy who came to meet Mr. Matthews earlier? One whispered. Scary looking. Left an envelope in his jacket. I heard him say something about last warning, the other replied. I froze. This was escalating faster than we'd anticipated. Back at Diane's house, I met with Tom and showed him the photos I'd managed to take of Daniel's meeting schedule. Look at this, I pointed to an entry for tomorrow morning. Meeting with V.C. at the boathouse. Tom's expression darkened. Vincent Caruso, I'd bet my license on it. We need to be there.
We?
I asked, alarmed. From a distance, he clarified. With a camera, with a good zoom lens. The next morning found us parked near the lake, Tom with professional camera equipment borrowed from a private investigator friend. There's Daniel, I whispered as a familiar figure approached the isolated boathouse. Tom started taking photos. Minutes later, another car arrived, and a heavy-set man in an expensive suit emerged. That's Caruso, Tom confirmed, the camera clicking rapidly. And he doesn't look happy. We watched as the men argued, Daniel's body language growing increasingly desperate. Then Caruso handed him what looked like photos, jabbing his finger at them menacingly before leaving. Daniel stood alone, staring at whatever he'd been given. Even from a distance, I could see his shoulders slump in defeat. What do you think those pictures were?
I asked.
Blackmail material, Tom replied grimly. And judging by Daniel's reaction, it's damning. Script part separator equals. As we drove away from the boathouse, my phone rang. Lauren's name flashed on the screen. I looked at Tom, panic rising. Answer it, he mouthed, turning down a side road. Hello? I said cautiously. Mom? Lauren's voice sounded different, smaller, almost childlike. Can we meet somewhere? Just us? What about the restraining order? I asked. I didn't request it. Daniel did. There was a pause. Mom, I need to talk to you.
Please.
Something in her voice made my maternal instincts override my anger. Where? The coffee shop near the park. 1 hour.
Tom wasn't happy about it.
This could be a trap, he warned. Daniel might have put her up to this. I have to go, I insisted. She's still my daughter. The coffee shop was busy when I arrived. Lauren sat in a corner booth, hunched over a mug, looking nothing like the confident woman who'd stolen my house. When she saw me, her eyes filled with tears. I didn't know, she whispered as I sat down. About Daniel's debts. About Caruso. I struggled to hide my shock. You know about Caruso? She nodded miserably. He sent someone to threaten me yesterday. Said if Daniel doesn't pay by Monday, they're coming after me next. She pushed her sleeve up slightly, revealing bruise marks on her wrist. This was just a warning. Fury rose in me. Not at Lauren, but at the men who had hurt my child. Why take my house? I asked softly. Daniel convinced me you were holding me back. Said you'd never supported my dreams. He claimed the house was wasting away and we could use it to build something better. Lauren wiped her eyes. Then I found out about the loan he took out.
He used my name, Mom.
Forged my signature. Have you told the police? I asked. Lauren laughed bitterly. With what proof? Besides, Daniel says Caruso has people everywhere. In the police, in the courts. Not everywhere, I said firmly. Not Judge Mills. Script part separator equals. Script part separator equals. Lauren's eyes widened. What are you saying? We have a court hearing Monday morning. Judge Mills moved it up after receiving information about Daniel's connections. I reached across the table, taking her hand. But we need your testimony. You need to tell the judge everything. She pulled away, fear flashing across her face. I can't. Daniel will. Daniel will what? I pressed. Hurt you more than he already has? Lauren, this man is dangerous. You don't understand, she whispered. He has connections. People who can make others disappear. My blood ran cold. All the more reason to stop this now. Lauren's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, her face draining of color. It's Daniel. He's asking where I am. Her fingers trembled as she typed a response. I told him I'm shopping for wedding shoes. How much time do we have? 20 minutes, maybe? She looked up, suddenly determined. Mom, there's something else you need to know. About the wedding. What about it? It's not just a ceremony. Daniel's invited all these business people, investors, he calls them. She lowered her voice. But yesterday I overheard him talking to someone. They're planning to announce the sale of the house at the reception. They already have a buyer waiting. I felt sick. Who? Someone named Bartayo. They're going to turn the property into condos. They've already filed permits with the city. That explained the rush. Not just Caruso's deadline, but developers waiting to pounce. Lauren, I said carefully, I need you to come with me right now. We're going to see Tom Anderson, my attorney. We'll protect you. She hesitated, then nodded. Okay. But we need to hurry. As we stood to leave, the coffee shop door swung open. Daniel stood there, his face a mask of fury, when he spotted us together. Lauren, he called, his voice deceptively calm. What a surprise to find you here. With your mother. Lauren froze beside me, her hand trembling in mine. I was just betraying me? Daniel finished, striding toward us. His charming smile never reached his eyes. After everything we've built? What you've built is a house of cards, I said, standing protectively between them. And it's about to come crashing down. Daniel laughed, the sound cold and hollow. Mrs. Williams, always so dramatic. He turned to Lauren. Let's go. We have wedding details to finalize. She's not going anywhere with you, I stated firmly. The coffee shop had gone quiet, patrons watching our confrontation. Daniel noticed the audience and lowered his voice. You have no idea who you're dealing with, he hissed. Actually, I know exactly who I'm dealing with, Vincent Caruso, I replied loudly. Daniel's face drained of color. Several patrons turned, including a man in the corner who suddenly seemed very interested in our conversation. Shut up, Daniel whispered frantically. The man in the corner stood, making a phone call as he watched us. Lauren, come with me, I urged.
Now.
This time, she didn't hesitate. As we rushed toward the door, Daniel grabbed her arm. You leave with her. Our deal is off, he threatened. Lauren pulled free, standing tall for the first time. The deal was never real, Daniel. It was just another one of your lies. We hurried out to my car where Tom was waiting, having followed me despite my objections. When Daniel burst out of the coffee shop after us, 2 police officers who had been parked nearby intercepted him. Daniel Matthews? One asked. We have some questions about fraudulent loan applications. As they led him away, Lauren collapsed against me in tears. 2 days later, in Judge Mill's courtroom, the truth came out in full. Lauren testified against Daniel, and my home was returned to me. Daniel and his lawyer faced multiple charges, and Vincent Caruso's organization came under federal investigation. Lauren moved into Diane's spare room, beginning the long process of rebuilding not just her life, but our relationship. That Sunday, where a wedding should have been, we instead had a different gathering in my garden, a small family reunion of people who truly cared about each other. When your child betrays you, it breaks your heart. But sometimes, even broken things can be rebuilt stronger than before. This is our story now, not perfect, not complete, but honestly, truly ours.